Today we're reviewing Good Fortune. Now, this is directed and starring by Aziz Ansari. Also alongside him, we get Keanu Reeves and Seth Rogen. And this is basically the film where Keanu Reeves is actually playing a angel. And he's like, the angel that saves people. And his role within the Guardian of Angels, I guess, is to save people from, crashing their car and potentially dying or doing something bad, when they're driving. So when they're texting and driving, he saves them from that. And he decides to go a little bit off tangent in terms of, what he has seen as an angel, and he actually sees Arj, who is Aziz's character, who needs a little bit more help, who's very much a bit of a lost soul is what they, and ultimately Arj wishes to trade lives with Seth Rogen's character, who's basically playing this like tech entrepreneur who's really wealthy. He has a very fortunate life, and he thinks, if I have the money, that life, that house, then my problems will just disappear. And Keanu Reeves basically thinks, well, we'll give this a go. That's the old plot of the film, and they basically do a bit of a Freaky Friday and kind of switch places. Seth Rogen being a rich billionaire kind of thing, he has to very much take Arj's life, who is very much like a delivery driver and living in his car and struggling, and then obviously Arj takes on his life. And yeah, there's a few little crossroads along the way. Of course, we have a love interest in there, and as I say, we have a few different obstacles, I guess, to overcome. The director, of course, Aziz Ansari, is also starring in this role, and it is his first directorial debut, and hopefully it's his last. For me, I thought it was a very bad film and badly executed. The only thing that saved it for me was Seth Rogen and Keanu Reeves, because they were both fantastic in the roles that they played. But Aziz Ansari just isn't for me. As a person, as an actor, his voice was way too high, and he was just, I don't want to be too nitpicky on him, but he just wasn't he was just over the top all the time. And every time he came on screen, I found myself rolling my eyes and not really caring. The only saving grace to this was the plot. It was quite an interesting thing in terms of a Freaky Friday, changing positions, all of that. I find that quite interesting. And the fact that Keanu Reeves and Seth Rogen were in the film managed to save it a little bit. It is one of those films you can't really talk too much about the plot, because it does fundamentally give away, ultimately what the whole story is about. But it is that kind of thing. They basically switch lives, and then it's all about finding themselves and learning about, should I actually want my old life back, or do I want to stay in this new life, and learning life lessons along the way. But as I say, a directional debut for Aziz Ansari, and for me, not one. So rating Good Fortune, I gave it a 2.5 star. Have you seen Good Fortune? Let me know in the comments down below.